Hello everyone, welcome to GS Core. I am Krishna Gupta and this is the initiative of One Day One Answer Writing. Okay, so this is One Day One Answer initiative. So this is an initiative which is basically focusing on how to write answers which are quite in need of UPSC in the contemporary times. So if we see the questions which are asked by UPSC, they are quite contemporary in nature. For example, we have seen in this year only, we have seen certain questions have been asked on the atmospheric disturbances, then questions have been asked on the groundwater depletion, then the demographic winter, then we have seen certain questions which we will be discussing in the further parts of One Day One Answer. Okay, so here basically what we need to understand is why this program has been initiated. This has been initiated to solve the issues of the students who face difficulties in writing answers for the mains questions. Okay, so basically we will be solving certain problems. We will be looking at the demand of the questions. We will be looking at what has to be the approach for the questions. We will be looking at certain concepts which are required for the answer writing. Then we'll be looking at how the structuring of the answer has to be made. Okay, so moving to the basic part here. Okay, so today's question we see it is basically looking at the groundwater potential of Gangetic Valley is on a serious decline. So this was question which has been asked in this year of 2024. So here, how may it affect the food security of India? So when I see this question, I can see certain key parameters here, certain keywords here. First is the groundwater potential, that is the number one thing. Second thing is the Gangetic Valley. Okay, this is the second keyword here. Then we see that the tail word which is provided here, that is the serious decline, and it is being interlinked with the fourth thing, that is the part of food security of India. Now, when we look at the geography of India, when we see the geography of India, we see certain concepts here. We see certain concepts here. So concepts, if I talk about, we first need to understand that why Indo-Gangetic Plain and why groundwater potential. So we need to see groundwater, that is the first thing, and second is the Indo, or we can directly write it as the Gangetic Valley. Okay, when I draw the map of India, so I can see that the regions where the Ganga river flows, which is containing the part of Uttarakhand, then part of Uttar Pradesh, then regions of Bihar, then it is also consisting certain regions of West Bengal. Okay, so when I see this, that how this formation of this Gangetic Valley has taken place, so this is basically consisting of alluvial soil. When I talk about alluvial soil, it is one of the most important soil which is used for the cultivation of various kind of crops. As this part of India, it is lying in the subtropical zone. As it is lying in the subtropical zone, here we see that it is one of the granary part of India. The region which is ascribed to the western part, I can divide it into two parts. The western part, it is very much progressive. It is very much progressive for the security of wheat. Okay, wheat plus pulses. Along with that, there is also production of rice in this part. Okay, there is also production of rice. Okay, this is Kharif and Rabi pattern. Towards the eastern part of this region, we see that it is majorly producing rice. Okay, rice along with pulses, and certain other crops like cotton, okay, then sugarcane, then we have also jute. But when we are talking about the food security part, we need to focus on the regions, on the parts which are providing us the production of food grains, okay, that is wheat, rice and rice here, okay. Now when I see that, the second part of the question, that is the groundwater part, okay. Now it has been seen that the groundwater is very much important for the cultivation of grains in India, despite having a large network of rivers, okay, with Ganga and its tributaries like Gomti, Son, Kosi, okay, then there is certain other rivers like Yamuna, okay. There are various rivers, but we see that majority of the cultivation or the irrigation, it is been done through the groundwater resources. So this is one of the most important part which we need to understand, that what is the aspect here where the groundwater potential is being utilized for the production of the crops. So here we see that there is almost a decline according to Central Water Commission. They have provided that every year almost around 10 to 15 centimeters of groundwater, it is being seen decline, okay, it is being seen into decline. And if we see the use of this groundwater, the 90% of this groundwater which is extracted, it is used for the agricultural system. 90% of the water, it is being used for the agricultural system. So when I see that this large amount of groundwater is being used for the agricultural system, if there is certain amount of decline in water is taking place, so how we will be able to connect it with the security of food? So here we can see that these two parts are directly connected here. Where we see that the production of rice in this part of the region, okay, the production of rice and wheat, we can say, which are the major crops here, they are providing more than 50% of the crops which is produced in the overall part of India, okay. If I consider the western part of India, which is consisting of Punjab, Haryana and western Uttar Pradesh, they are major source of the wheat and rice, okay, along with the eastern part of India, which is the major source for the rice part here. So what we see here, that in the recent report, it has been said that there could be a decline of almost 20 to 30%. Because of the decline of this groundwater potential, there can be a potential decline of 20 to 30% of the crop production. There can be a potential decline of the crop production in India. So this is a challenge which is basically posed by the farmers in India right now. Now this challenge is not just posed by farmers, but this has also needed to be addressed by the people or the government, which is trying to make India food secured, okay, Thus what we see that the importance of Gangetic Valley and the groundwater potential, which is basically used for the irrigation purposes, here we see that this is providing us a map, or it is providing us a framework where we can interlink the things with the kind of soil which is present here. Because of the presence of certain kind of soil, that is the alluvial soil, it is one of the granary of India, okay. And here we see that there are certain connection of rivers are present. Despite the connection of rivers, despite the high connection of rivers, also the monsoonal rivers are present here. The amount of water which has been extracted and used for the irrigation purpose, it is very high. We can see that the irrigation region and the non-irrigated region in the northern part of India, it is very high. Almost 55% of the region, it is unirrigated, okay, 55%, more than 55% of the region in the northern part of India or this Gangetic Valley of India, it is unirrigated. Therefore, through this data we can analyze that yes, the groundwater is declining, and it has been provided by the Central Water Commission. Okay, Central Water Commission, they have provided this report. Another water report has also been provided by ISRO's GRACE program, that is Gravity Recovery and Climate Experiment Satellite, which has provided that the groundwater depletion is taking place almost at the rate of 33 mm per year. Okay, which is providing a report of 33 mm per year. That is the groundwater depletion is being provided, and this is being provided by GRACE program of ISRO. Okay, this GRACE program, it is basically using the GIS technology. It is basically using the GIS technologies. So these concepts and these data which provide us a very important interlinkage between how the Gangetic Valley, it is seeing decline in the groundwater potential, and how it is serious. Why it is very much serious? Because it is directly impacting the granary region of India. This granary region of India, where we are seeing the cultivation of wheat and rice basically, which are basically one of the part of the food security of India, which have become one of the part of food security of India. Okay, so here what we see that these are the certain conceptual frameworks which are being required here to understand the topic. Okay, these are required for to understand the topic and to interlink the various parts which are provided in the question. So through this data, through these topics, through this analysis, we can understand the demand of the question. What is the demand of the question? We are providing the serious threat here, serious declining of the groundwater potential using certain data. Then we are providing that how it will affect the food security of India. See if there is decline in the groundwater will take place. Okay, as we are looking at the condition where the cultivation of crop, it is majorly dependent on the groundwater. So if groundwater decline will take place, it will result into the decline of the crop production, which is almost 20 to 30%, which is predicted by the IMD. Okay, now if we look at the part of the food security, so it will directly affect the farmers. It will directly affect the farmers. It will not only affect the farmers, this decline in productivity, it will directly affect the farmers. It will also directly result into the food inflation. It will result into the second part, which is food inflation. Apart from the food inflation, it will also result into the insecurity of the food throughout the India. It will result into the insecurity of the food. The distribution system, the public distribution system of the food, it may collapse here, which may result into the various kind of the food insecurity, which may also result into the insecurity of the nutrients, and it may result further into the unhealthy population. Okay, as we can see that the population of India currently it is growing. The population of India currently it is growing, and we have almost reached 1.45 billions already. Okay, and further we are seeing that by the 2050 and 2060 we will be reaching to 1.67 billions. So to sustain such high number of population, it is very important for us right now to sustain this population by ensuring the food security. So this will ensure the food security of the country, and with the increase in population and decline in the food productivity or the food production, the per capita availability it will decline. The per capita availability of food, it will decline in the future. So these are the basic highlights, these are the basic concepts which we are needed to highlight in the question, We can use the map, we can use the aquifers which are provided here. Okay, these aquifers, they are basically recharged by the monsoonal rainfall or the rivers, but because in spite of the recharging of the aquifers, there is still decline in the groundwater because of the excessive extraction of the groundwater system. Okay, so therefore this is needed to be provided in a structure. Now moving forward, so the concept part which we have discussed before, the same concept thing which this this thing has to be addressed here. So conceptual part, first thing we are looking at the groundwater. Okay, the groundwater, that is the presence of groundwater, or we can see the spatial distribution, as well as the decline of groundwater, okay, which we have seen through the report of CWC and GRACE program. Second conceptual part which we need to see here, that is the Gangetic Valley. Okay, its regional distribution or its regional space. Okay, and here what we are seeing, that the availability of alluvial soil, which is one of the most fertile soil, and this is also resulting into the granary part of India. Or we can say that granary basket of India. Okay, granary basket of India. In the third part, what we need to highlight it is that because of the decline in the groundwater, of the groundwater, how this alluvial soil or how this Gangetic Valley, it will be witnessing a decline in crop production. So that is decline in crop production, which is estimated to about 20 to 30%, which is estimated to be about 20 to 30%. Fourth thing what we need to highlight here, the increasing population of India. The increasing population of India, we have already reached 1.45 billions, and by the 2050 or 2060 we will be reaching 1.6 to 1.7 billion. So sustaining such large number of population on the granary basket, which is seeing a decline in the groundwater, which is one of the basic part of the irrigation, it has to be interlinked here. So how this increasing population and decline in the crop production, these two parts, okay, this will result into the fifth part, which will be affecting the food security of India, because food security will be seeing that it will be decline in per capita availability of food. This will be the per capita availability of food, which will be declining here. So these are the major concepts, or these are the major structure which we need to provide in the answer. Okay, these are the major structure. Okay, in this structure we can also include the map of India, which we have drawn in the previous part. Okay, so here we need to highlight the Gangetic Valley of India, where the Ganga river it is flowing. Okay, so this is to be highlighted in the part of the map. We can use map here to highlight this part. Okay, if we go to the next part, that what are the structure, what are the concepts. So in the structure we can see, we can do it by the introduction. With the introduction, we can specify here the data which is provided by ISRO's GRACE program, which is specifying the part of the groundwater decline. Or we can also add up CWC report. Okay, then in the main body part, we can specify here the Gangetic Valley, a map can be provided here, the type of soil can be provided here. On this soil, what crops are being grown, it can be provided here. What is the production capacity? The production capacity of this region, that is the Gangetic Valley. It can be provided here, and in the next part we need to provide that how the groundwater decline, it is basically resulting into the decline in the crop productivity. Okay, how it is resulting into the decline in the crop productivity, it has to be interlinked here. Okay, then we need to provide a way forward. That what can be way forward can be done here. Way forward, like we can use crop diversification. Crop diversification can be used here. Instead of using wheat and rice, we can use millets. Which is a less water intensive crops, Next thing, certain technologies such as drip irrigation can be used. Here. Apart from the drip irrigation, we can also help in the rainwater harvesting. Programs. That is the recharging of aquifers. So certain technological advancements, certain technological developments can be done here. Okay. Apart from this, certain policies can be also made here. Which is basically working on water intensive programs or water conservation programs, or the use of water in a better manner, or for the better development of the better development of the groundwater resources. So this thing what we see here, that this provide us a basic policies are needed here, which can help us in managing the water which is available right now. We can also increase the use of river water. Because this region, it is consisting of perennial water systems. So here we can use it through the interlinking of rivers, and storage of water for basically agricultural purposes. So through this way forward, we can conclude our answer. Okay. So guys, this was the one day one answer program. Here we have understood that how the groundwater decline, it is becoming an issue in the Gangetic region of India, and how it is affecting the food security. So guys, thank you very much. See you in the next part.